Hey everyone, I'm the Recap Master. Today, I'll be recapping and explaining the 2023 comedy-drama Bollywood movie called Laapataa Ladies, translated to Lost Ladies. Sit back, relax, and beware, spoilers ahead. The story begins in 2001, set in a quaint village in India. The scene opens with a heartfelt post-wedding farewell ceremony for Phool, who has just married Deepak. As part of the ritual, Phool's mother lovingly places a traditional veil over her head. After the emotional farewell, Deepak and Phool embark on their journey back to their village. Their travels include a boat ride and a crowded bus. Finally, they transfer to an equally overcrowded train. Amid the scramble for space, Deepak observes other newlywed couples, all adorned in matching attire and veils. Deepak, ever thoughtful, ensures Phool finds a seat while he stands nearby, embodying a quiet sense of care and respect for his bride. At the next station, as some passengers disembark, the crowd shuffles to fill the available seats. Unbeknownst to Deepak, the spot where Phool had been seated is now occupied by another veiled bride. While Deepak is outside purchasing refreshments, the swap goes unnoticed. When he returns, he takes a seat opposite this veiled figure, assuming she is Phool. After enduring the long and tiring journey, Deepak eventually succumbs to exhaustion and falls asleep. Hours later, he wakes up with a startle, realizing their destination has arrived. In his haste, he gathers his belongings and calls for the veiled bride across from him to follow, mistaking her for Phool. The young woman, named Jaya, obliges, unable to see clearly through her veil and assuming he is her husband. Initially, Jaya doesn't notice the mix-up and continues to follow Deepak. However, the truth dawns on her as soon as she steps off the train. Despite realizing the mistake, she chooses to remain silent, possibly driven by her own circumstances. Meanwhile, Deepak is joyfully greeted by his friends at the bus stop, who celebrate his return. They begin their journey towards his village, Surajmukhi. Along the way, Jaya realizes she is heading to the wrong village but decides to continue without saying a word. Upon arrival, Deepak is warmly welcomed by his family. He respectfully takes the blessings of his parents, grandparents, and elders. The newlywed couple is welcomed with traditional rituals by the women of the family. As part of the ceremony, they ask the bride to lift her veil. When Jaya hesitantly unveils herself, shock ripples through the gathering as everyone realizes she is not Phool. Stunned by the unexpected turn of events, Jaya recounts how the mix-up occurred during the journey. The revelation leaves the family devastated. The weight of the situation hits Deepak hard as he realizes Phool must still be on the train. Without wasting a moment, he and his friends race back to the station, desperate to find her. Meanwhile, Deepak's father advises Jaya to remain at their home until the matter is resolved. In the midst of the chaos, Jaya fabricates a false identity to protect herself. She introduces herself to Deepak's family as Pushpa, claiming to be the wife of a man named Pankaj from Chhattisgarh. To further conceal her true background, she provides a fake address and phone number. Meanwhile, the train reaches Patila station, where Jaya's actual husband, Pradeep, disembarks. Phool also steps off the train, but she is overwhelmed with fear and confusion when she doesn't find Deepak anywhere. Desperately, she searches the train for him, her anxiety growing with every passing moment. Pradeep, mistaking Phool for Jaya at first, quickly realizes his error. Yet, instead of helping her, he approaches her in a lecherous and predatory manner, offering assistance under the guise of concern. Terrified by his behavior, Phool flees, desperate to escape the unsettling situation. Frustrated by Jaya's absence, Pradeep enlists his friends to search for her. He notices that her mobile phone is still with her, making it impossible to contact her. Pradeep begins his search but with little genuine concern for Jaya's well-being. When his friends return empty-handed, he dismisses their efforts, callously declaring that he doesn't care about Jaya's whereabouts but only the dowry and jewelry, revealing his true, greedy nature. In a shocking display of his despicable character, he vows to celebrate his wedding night with a prostitute instead, showcasing his moral depravity. At the same time, Deepak begins a frantic search for Phool. His desperation is compounded by the lack of any means to communicate with her or even a clear idea of where she might have gone, leaving him overwhelmed by guilt and helplessness. Jaya, determined to maintain her fabricated identity, burns Pradeep's SIM card, cutting off any chance of the police tracing her. Meanwhile, Phool spends a harrowing night in a public toilet, the only place she feels marginally safe. The next morning, as she wanders the station, she encounters Chotu and Abdul, kind-hearted strangers with rough exteriors. Despite their intimidating appearance, they offer to help the distressed bride. Chotu takes Phool to the station master, who attempts to assist her by recording her details. However, Phool struggles to remember the name of Deepak's village. Despite his best efforts, the station master is unable to offer meaningful help. When he suggests she go to the police, Phool hesitates. Back at Deepak's home, Jaya continues to weave her false narrative. In an attempt to gain the family's trust, she hands her jewelry over to Yashoda, Deepak's mother, for safekeeping. Amidst the ongoing chaos, Deepak remains resolute. He vows to find Phool and bring Jaya back to her rightful home, determined to set things right. Deepak and his friend make their way to the local police station to file a missing person report for Phool. It is here that we meet Sub-Inspector Manohar, a corrupt officer known for his bribe-taking ways, always chewing tobacco. Assisting him are Dubey and Bella. Deepak recounts the entire ordeal to Inspector Shyam, pleading for help in locating Phool. However, Shyam demands a bribe in exchange for his cooperation. When asked for a photograph of Phool, Deepak provides their wedding picture, but the image only shows Phool in her full veil. This prompts Shyam to make sarcastic remarks. Despite his cynicism, Shyam senses something suspicious about Jaya's story. He instructs Deepak to bring Jaya to the station for questioning the next morning. On the other side of the narrative, Chota brings Phool to Manju Mai, a woman who runs a tea stall at the train station. He hopes Manju can provide shelter and guidance for the distressed bride. Manju Mai, initially skeptical of Phool's story, regards her with caution, unsure of the stranger's intentions. Meanwhile, Pradeep makes his own move, filing a missing person report for Jaya with Inspector T.P. Tribhuvan. However, his intentions are far from noble. His primary concern is retrieving Jaya, and more importantly, the jewelry she had with her. In a darker twist, we learn that Pradeep is under investigation for the suspected murder of his ex-wife. Deepak informs Jaya that she has been summoned by the inspector for questioning, adding to her unease. Back at the police station, Inspector Manohar receives a faxed missing person report for Jaya from Inspector Tribhuvan's jurisdiction. As he reads through the details, he notices an uncanny similarity between the two cases. While the names differ, the train, time, and other circumstances align perfectly. Manohar and Tribhuvan discuss the case over the phone, and he is stunned to learn that Jaya had 150 grams of gold with her when she went missing. In the following scene, we see Jaya secretly purchasing a new SIM card for herself, using it only after everyone has gone to sleep. The next morning, Phool returns to Manju Mai. Initially, Manju Mai remains cautious, but over time, she begins to soften and offers Phool a job at her tea stall. At Deepak's home, before heading to the police station, Jaya makes a subtle but crucial change where she alters the tattoo on her arm, in an attempt to cover her tracks and avoid detection. At the police station, Inspector Manohar tries to subtly press Jaya in. However, she remains composed and evasive, skillfully dodging all his questions with confidence and quick thinking. When Manohar inquires about any identifying marks, Jaya reveals the altered tattoo and she calmly explains that Shreya is her childhood name. She refuses to have her photo taken without her veil. Manohar's suspicion grows when Jaya reacts nervously to being called Jaya, a slip-up that confirms his doubts. However, without concrete evidence to hold her, he reluctantly lets her go. Elsewhere, Manju Mai has begun to warm up to Phool, offering her a place to stay at her home. Phool, grateful for Manju Mai's kindness, offers to make sweets for her tea stall the next morning. Manju Mai gladly agrees. Phool prepares a delicious, milk and rose-based pudding known as kalakand. Meanwhile, Inspector Manohar is on high alert, tailing Jaya as he tries to gather evidence of her deception. His vigilance leads him to notice her using her new phone to make a call. Shyam tracks her to a pawn shop where she sells some of her jewelry. He watches as she buys new clothes and heads to an internet cafe. Shyam attempts to find out what she was browsing, but Jaya has cleverly deleted her search history. Shyam's relentless pursuit continues as he spots Jaya at a post office and later at a tours and travels shop, where she purchases a bus ticket. He continues to discreetly snap photos of her, but none of his shots provide clear evidence. At Deepak's family farm, Deepak's friend Gunjan is impressed by her knowledge, particularly when Deepak's father mentions an infestation of bugs that's threatening their crops. Concerned, Deepak's father instructs Gunjan to spray insecticides, but Jaya intervenes. She advises against using insecticides, explaining that it would harm the crops as well. Instead, she suggests an alternative solution, such as creating yellow sticky traps to capture the pests. Meanwhile, Jaya notices that Bablu, Poonam's son, has discovered her mobile phone. Sensing the risk of him telling others, she offers him a bribe of daily playtime if he keeps her secret and stays quiet about the phone. Dubey informs Shyam that Jaya has sent 25,000 rupees to someone named Hema in another city, deepening the mystery surrounding her intentions. Determined to Deepak, Jaya asks Poonam to create a portrait of Phool, one that could be used for the search. Poonam, with her artistic skills, agrees to the request. Meanwhile, at Manju Mai's tea stall, Phool is finally recognized for her hard work. Manju Mai, impressed by Phool's dedication, rewards her for the delicious sweet dish she prepared, noting that the customers have been praising it. Elsewhere, Jaya continues to carry out her plan. She hands the newly created portrait of Phool to Gunjan, asking him to print multiple copies and distribute them everywhere, including at all the local railway stations, showing her genuine desire to help. As the plot reaches its climax, Jaya's web of lies begins to unravel. Inspector Manohar finally receives the crucial photo of Jaya from Inspector Tribhuvan, the final piece of the puzzle that confirms her true identity. Without wasting any time, he heads to Deepak's house to arrest Jaya. Once there, Manohar reveals the truth to everyone, exposing her real identity. He demonstrates how she concealed her tattoo and kept her mobile phone hidden. He tells the family that Jaya is a con artist who had been using Deepak's family, all while planning to leave with the money she had sent to another person. She tries to defend herself, but her words fall on deaf ears. The shock of her betrayal leaves Deepak and his family heartbroken, particularly since they had started to trust Jaya and had formed a close bond with her. Jaya, now exposed, is taken away and locked up, her fate sealed. At Deepak's home, Bablu comes forward, holding Jaya's forgotten book about farming science. Just as Deepak examines the book, Gunjan arrives with a stack of missing person pamphlets. He explains that Jaya had asked him to print and distribute these flyers, claiming she was genuinely trying to help Deepak find Phool. Meanwhile, the missing person photo of Phool finally reaches Manju Mai's tea stall. Manju Mai and Phool, both overwhelmed with emotion, spot the photo and realize that Deepak has been searching for her all along. They immediately ask the station master to contact the phone number listed on the pamphlet. However, when they try to reach the number, it goes unanswered, as the phone had already been confiscated by the police, leaving them both disheartened. The station master suggests that Phool take the next train to Deepak's village, which is scheduled to depart in just 10 minutes. Grateful for the chance to finally reunite with Deepak, Phool thanks the station master. She also expresses her heartfelt gratitude to Manju Mai, who, though emotional, is happy for Phool's journey ahead. Manju Mai, along with Chotu and Abdul, who had become like family to Phool, bids her an emotional farewell. Meanwhile, Deepak, Gunjan, and his friends head to the police station, where they present the photo that Jaya had printed and distributed. Inspector Manohar, seeing the evidence, decides to release Jaya from the lockup and asks her to explain her side of the story. In a poignant moment, Jaya opens up to Manohar, revealing her dreams and the struggles she faced before her marriage. She shares how, before her marriage was arranged, she had topped her class and dreamed of studying farming science in Dehradun. She had told her mother about her aspirations, but her mother, who had already arranged the marriage, refused. Her father, having sold some of his farmland to finance the wedding, pressured her to comply, and her mother even threatened to commit suicide. Feeling trapped, Jaya reluctantly agreed. Jaya also reveals her fear of Pradeep, describing his violent tendencies and murky past, including the alleged murder of his ex-wife. She explains that she had accepted her fate. But life gave her a second chance that night when the mix-up occurred with Phool. Jaya seized this opportunity, although it meant hiding her true identity for a week. She further explains that Hema, the woman she had been sending money to, is her sister. The money was for her college admissions and hostel arrangements. Jaya had no choice but to keep her real identity hidden for fear of being sent back to Pradeep. Now, with her chance gone, she expresses that her heart was always pure, citing her willingness to help Deepak by distributing Phool's poster as evidence of her good intentions. Jaya then asks Inspector Manohar about her phone, asking him to check if anyone had called with information about Phool. Inspector Manohar checks and finds 12 missed calls. He calls back, confirming that Phool has been found, but due to the phone's low battery, the connection was lost. Realizing the urgency, Manohar instructs Deepak to hurry to the station in the hopes of catching up with Phool before it's too late. Although Manohar is corrupt, he is not without a moral compass. He understands the gravity of Jaya's situation and, despite knowing she is not a con, he explains to her that he is duty-bound to return her to Pradeep since filed a missing person report. This news devastates Jaya, who feels as if her second chance at freedom is slipping away. Reluctantly, Deepak and his friends, understanding the inevitable, leave in search of Phool, hoping to reunite with her before it's too late. When Pradeep finally arrives at the police station, his arrogance and entitlement are evident as he throws money at Manohar, treating Jaya as if she is nothing more than property. The tension escalates quickly when Pradeep slaps Jaya in front of everyone, which leaves everyone stunned. He continues to threaten Jaya, telling her that she will pay for what she has done as soon as they reach home. As Pradeep attempts to force Jaya to go with him, Manohar steps in, his voice firm. He asserts that while the case may seem resolved, Jaya is of legal age and cannot be forced into a situation against her will. Manohar makes it clear that Pradeep cannot take her without her consent. In a dramatic turn, Manohar confronts Pradeep about the legality of his dowry demands and the implications of the violence and threats he has just displayed in front of the police. Pradeep, raising his voice in revolt, tries to challenge Manohar, but the officer stands up tall with an intimidating presence, his tone cold and firm. Manohar threatens Pradeep, telling him that if he doesn't let Jaya go, he will ensure that Pradeep is arrested and imprisoned for the rest of his life under charges of dowry, bribery, and violence against women. He also warns that he will reopen the investigation into the death of Pradeep's ex-wife. Manohar's voice grows even more determined as he warns Pradeep to never pursue Jaya again. He promises that if Pradeep dares to cross the line again, he will track him down and ensure he faces severe consequences. Faced with the weight of these threats and the potential collapse of his entire existence, Pradeep, begrudgingly and with a scowl, retreats. Jaya, overwhelmed with gratitude, starts sobbing with happiness, tears streaming down her face. She thanks Manohar for his unexpected kindness and support. Manohar, his demeanor softening, assures her that she has the right to live her life on her terms. He encourages her to pursue her education, to study well, and to build a better future for herself. As a symbol of his belief in her independence, he allows her to keep the jewelry that had once been a source of her bondage, now representing her freedom and potential for a new beginning. With a final nod, he wishes her all the best for her future. Tirelessly chasing the train, Deepak and Phool finally reunite, their long-awaited embrace filled with warmth and joy. Their emotional reunion spreads news to Manju Mai and her friends, who celebrate with exuberance, overjoyed by the happy ending. Amidst the celebrations, Manju Mai realizes that Phool had left something behind at her tea stall. An item that could provide a meaningful reason for their paths to cross again. As Jaya prepares to leave, she takes blessings from all the elders of Deepak's family. She promises to return someday, visiting them, as she has formed a genuine connection with the family. Everyone wishes her the best in her journey ahead. Gunjan, fond of Jaya, encourages her to send a letter through Deepak when she's settled, to keep in touch and express her gratitude and affection. Meanwhile, Phool, now reunited with Deepak, finds herself enveloped in the affection and respect she's always deserved. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it entertaining, don't forget to like, share and comment. Your support means the world to me. For more such videos, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Until next time, take care and I'll see you in the next video.